Machines are your best friend, and how to stop being the house's favorite customer. 1. Defining the lucky loser. To understand this strategy, you have to redefine what winning looks like. Most players think winning is hitting a $10,000 jackpot on a flashy machine. But if it took you $12,000 to get there, the house is the only one winning. A lucky loser is a player who seeks out the machines everyone else has rejected. These are the games that don't have a line of people waiting to play. They don't have a movie star's face on them. They aren't in the celebration zones. I once watched a man in a dusty windbreaker sit at a generic, three-reel mechanical slot in the back of a casino in Reno. People walked past him to get to the giant buffalo screens. He looked bored. He looked like a loser. But every 30 minutes, I'd see him hit a $200 or $300 line hit. He wasn't chasing $1 million. He was harvesting the machine's high payback percentage. By the time the Buffalo players had lost their second $500 buy-in, this man was walking to the cage with a $1,200 profit. He understood that the casino uses flash to hide low-return math. The lucky loser embraces the boring because the boring is where the money lives. Look for the machine that has zero hype. If nobody is filming it for TikTok, it's probably because the math is too steady for a viral video. And that's exactly what you want. 2. The ugly machine secret. In my early years, I avoided the ugly machines. You know the ones. They have basic fruit symbols, no video screen, and look like they haven't been updated since 1995. I thought they were for people who didn't know how to play. I was wrong. After 20 years, I realized that these ugly machines are often the highest paying slots on the floor. The reason is simple: overhead. A modern video slot with 4K graphics and 3D sound costs the casino a fortune to buy and maintain. They have to pay licensing fees to studios and developers. An old-school mechanical reel machine? It's been paid off for 2 decades. The casino doesn't need to squeeze the player to cover the cost of the machine. I've compared the internal logs of these classics to the new arrivals. And the ugly ones almost always have a 2% to 4% higher return to player (RTP). In a casino, a 4% difference is the difference between a 3-hour session and a 30-minute bust. If a machine looks like it belongs in a museum, give it a test spin. The lack of digital bells and whistles usually means the money is going into the pay table, not the animation budget. 3. The abandoned jackpot logic. One of the key discoveries in the lucky losers strategy is identifying persistent state games that have been abandoned. These are machines like Ocean Magic or Scarab, where symbols stay on the screen for a set number of spins. If a player gets frustrated because they have hit a big win and walks away while the screen is loaded with potential, they are leaving money on the table. I've spent hours just walking the floor, looking for these abandoned setups. I once found a machine where a player had left with 8 out of 10 wild symbols already locked in place for the next spin. They were losing in their mind because their bankroll was at 0. But to me, that machine was a guaranteed winner. I put in $20, played the remaining 2 spins, and hit a $150 bonus. This is the ultimate lucky loser move. Profit from the frustration of others. The casino loves it when players quit early, but if you know how to read the screen, you can pick up exactly where their bad luck left off. Always scan the screen of collection games before you walk past. If a progress bar is at 90%, or if wilds are locked in, that machine is mathematically hotter than a fresh one. 4. High limit bleed, the payout paradox. Most people are terrified of the high limit room. They think it's a place where you lose thousands in seconds. And while the stakes are higher, the lucky loser knows that the math in the high limit room is actually much fairer. If you bet $5 a spin on a penny machine, you are getting an 88% payback. If you bet that same $5 on a single line machine in the high limit room, you are often getting a 95% to 97% payback. I discovered this after watching a high roller lose $2,000 in 10 minutes. It looked like a disaster. But when I looked at the hits he did get, they were massive. The bleed felt faster because the bets were bigger, but the machine was returning more money per dollar wagered than anything on the main floor. The lucky loser strategy isn't about betting more than you have. It's about making sure that when you do bet, you're getting the best possible deal from the house. If you were planning on betting $5 per spin on a penny machine, walk into the high limit area and find a $5 single line machine. You'll get better math and a higher chance of a meaningful hit. 5. Volume over vibe. Fast play versus distraction. Casinos want you to play slow. That sounds backwards, doesn't it? Surely they want your money fast. But here's the secret. They want you to stay in the chair as long as possible so they can distract you with drinks, lights, and social atmosphere. The longer you stay, the more likely you are to make an emotional mistake. The lucky losers I observed played with volume. They weren't there for the vibe. They would sit down, perform a specific number of spins, and if the machine didn't perform, they were gone. They didn't wait for the cocktail waitress. They didn't chat with the person next to them. They treated it like a job. By increasing the volume of spins on high RTP machines and cutting their losses quickly on takers, they stayed ahead of the emotional curve. I once watched a woman play 3 different machines in 15 minutes. To an outsider, she looked like she was having a bad night. In reality, she was filtering, discarding the machines that didn't show immediate signs of a high payback setting. Set a trial limit. Give a machine 20 spins. If it hasn't returned at least 50% of your trial bet, move to the next one. Don't fall in love with the chair. 6. The machine fatigue myth. After 20 years, I can tell you that machine fatigue is a myth that keeps players broke. You'll hear people say, that machine has been played all day, it's tired, it won't hit. Or, that machine just hit a jackpot, it's going to be cold for a week. This is the opposite of the lucky loser mindset. The RNG doesn't get tired. In fact, a machine that is being played heavily is often the best one to be on. Why? Because high-volume machines are usually the ones the regulars have identified as having a better payback percentage. I remember a specific machine near the poker room that was always occupied. I thought it was exhausted. One day, I finally got a seat, and I realized it was a Barker, set at a high RTP to entice the poker players. It hit constantly. The people who avoided it because it was overplayed were missing out on the best math on the floor. Don't fear a machine that just paid out. The odds of it paying out again on the very next spin are identical to the odds before the jackpot. If a machine is busy, there's usually a mathematical reason why. 7. The comp signal, when to walk. This is a secret I learned from a casino host who became a close friend. He told me, we don't give free steak dinners to people who are winning. The casino's tracking system is designed to keep you in the building when you are on a losing streak. The lucky loser uses the comp as a signal. If a host approaches you with a free room offer or a high-value meal voucher out of the blue, it's because the system has flagged you as a high-value target, meaning you've lost enough that the house is worried you'll leave. I've seen players get an offer and think, my luck is changing. They're being so nice. No, they are trying to buy 2 more hours of your time. The lucky loser takes the voucher, hits the cash out button, and goes to eat that free steak. They use the casino's own retention tactics as their exit cue. If you get an unexpected gift from the house, take it as a compliment to your play, and then leave. You've reached the frustration threshold the house tracks. Don't give them a chance to take more. 8. The penny trap contrast. I used to think penny slots were the safe way to learn. After 20 years, I realized they are the trap for people who don't want to do the math. A penny slot is like a fast food joint. It's cheap up front, but it's terrible for you in the long run. The lucky loser strategy avoids the penny floor entirely during peak hours. Why? Because when the casino is full, they don't need to offer high returns on penny slots. People will play them regardless. I've seen the hold percentages on penny machines go up during holiday weekends. But the $1 and $5 machines? They stay more consistent because the players at those levels are more sensitive to tight math. If you want to be a lucky loser, you have to stop thinking about the cost per spin and start thinking about the cost per hour. A person betting $0.88 on a penny slot is often losing more per hour than a person betting $1.00 on a high RTP mechanical reel. Always compare the minimum bet of a high denomination machine to the max bet of a low one. Often, the higher denomination is cheaper and offers much better odds. 9. The 20-minute scouting lap. The most important 20 minutes of your casino trip happen before you ever touch a machine. I discovered the scouting lap after watching a professional player spend his first hour in the building just walking. He wasn't looking at the games. He was looking at the meters and the maintenance. He was looking for machines with a must-hit by progressive jackpot. If a machine says must hit by $500, and the current jackpot is $492, The lucky loser knows that machine is in a high probability window. He also looked for machines that were being worked on. If a mechanic is fixing a button or clearing a jam, it's a sign that the machine has seen heavy volume. Heavy volume in a quiet area of the floor is a massive green flag. It means the locals know something you don't. Spend your first 20 minutes with your hands in your pockets. Find the must-hit progressives that are nearing their limit and identify the machines that the regulars are circling like sharks. 10. The near-miss rejection. For years, a near-miss would make me play faster. I'd see that third 7 just an inch off the line and think, it's right there. One more spin. But 20 years of experience taught me that a near-miss is actually a rejection. Modern machines use virtual reels. The computer has thousands of stop positions, but only a few of them are winning ones. The machine is programmed to show you a near miss much more often than it would naturally occur in a random physical world. It's a digital tease. The lucky loser sees a near miss and recognizes it for what it is, a programmed distraction. They don't let it trigger a dopamine spike. Instead, they treat it as a sign that the machine is successfully doing its job, taking money. If a machine gives you 3 near misses in a row, it's not getting hot. It's getting greedy. Train your brain to see a near miss as a loss, because that's exactly what the RNG called it. If you feel that rush after an almost win, stand up and walk for 2 minutes to reset your logic. 11. Emotional bankroll control. The lucky losers I've met are the most unemotional people on the floor. They don't scream when they win, and they don't groan when they lose. They understand that the casino is a game of variance, and emotions are the house's best friend. I once saw a man lose $1,000 in a single high-limit session. He stood up, nodded to the attendant, and went to get a coffee. He had a loss limit, and he hit it. He didn't chase. He didn't get angry. 3 hours later, I saw him back on the floor, calm and collected, playing a different strategy. He understood that his bankroll wasn't just money. It was mental energy. If you get angry, you bet bigger. If you get desperate, you ignore the math. The lucky loser discovery is that the person who cares the least about the outcome is the one most likely to walk away with a profit. Divide your bankroll into sessions. If you lose one session, walk away for at least an hour. Never let the emotions of one machine follow you to the next. 12. The vulture mindset. Timing your entry. Timing is everything. After 20 years, I realized that when you play is almost as important as what you play. The lucky loser doesn't play during the Saturday night rush. The floor is too loud, the machines are too tight, and the barkers are occupied. The best time to play is early weekday mornings, Tuesday or Wednesday at 8 a.m. This is when the casino is resetting. The vulture players come out then to find the machines that were loaded by the Saturday night crowd but never triggered. I've found progressives that were $2 away from their must-hit limit on a Tuesday morning because some tired player gave up at 4 a.m. Being a lucky loser means having the patience to wait for the environment that favors the player, not the house. If you can, visit the casino midweek. You'll have your pick of the best machines, the staff will be more helpful, and you can scout the floor without the noise of the weekend crowds. 13. The exit strategy, the only real win. The hardest thing to discover in 20 years wasn't a machine, it was the exit. The house edge is a slow grind. If you play long enough, the house always wins. The lucky loser strategy is built on the short session. I remember a player who would sit down with $100, and the moment he was up $20, he'd cash out. He'd walk around, have a water, and then find a new machine. He never sat at one game for more than 20 minutes. He was stacking small wins. By the end of the night, he had 6 or 7 tickets worth $120 each. He didn't hit a jackpot, but he beat the house edge by refusing to let it grind him down. He was a lucky loser because he looked like he was constantly quitting, but he was actually the only one keeping his profit. Set a win goal for every machine. If you're up 25% on your session buy-in, hit the cash out button. Taking a small profit and moving on is the only way to beat the mathematical inevitability of the house. After 20 years, the biggest secret I can share is this. The casino isn't your enemy, but it's also not your friend. It's a business. And the lucky losers are the customers that business hates most. They are the ones who don't get distracted by the branding, who don't fall for the near-miss tricks, and who have the discipline to walk away with a small win. The strategy I've shared today, looking for the ugly machines, scouting for abandoned progressives, and managing your emotions, is the result of 2 decades of trial and error. It won't guarantee you a $1 million jackpot, but it will give you the best possible chance to enjoy the floor without being drained. Remember, knowledge is your only real advantage. Use these secrets to play smarter, stay in control, and treat every trip as a tactical challenge. If these 20 years of lessons helped you, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're going to keep diving deep into the secrets the industry wants to keep hidden. Play smart, stay disciplined, and I'll see you on the floor. Which of these lucky loser secrets are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments below.